Once upon a time, in a quiet village surrounded by rolling green hills, there lived an old man named Thomas. He was known by everyone as a quiet, gentle soul who spent most of his days sitting on the wooden bench outside his small cottage. Since his wife had passed away years earlier, the house had felt far too big and far too silent. One chilly autumn afternoon, as golden leaves drifted across the narrow cobblestone path, Thomas heard a faint sound. Meow. He looked down and saw the tiniest kitten he had ever seen. The little creature was shivering beneath the bench, its fur a messy mix of gray and white, its bright eyes wide with both fear and hope. "Well now," Thomas murmured softly, leaning down with a creaky sigh. "And where did you come from, little one?" The kitten didn't run away. Instead, it stumbled forward and pressed its small head against his worn leather shoe. Thomas hadn't planned on bringing home a cat. In fact, he hadn't planned on bringing home anything at all. But something in that tiny, trembling body stirred a warmth in his chest that he hadn't felt in years. He carefully picked the kitten up and tucked it inside his coat. "I suppose," he said with a faint smile, "we could keep each other company." He named the kitten Oliver. At first Oliver was shy. He hid behind the old rocking chair and peeked around corners. But it didn't take long before he began exploring every inch of the cottage, climbing the curtains, batting at dust motes in the sunlight, and curling up on Thomas's lap in the evenings. Slowly the house began to change. Thomas found himself laughing when Oliver chased his own tail. He started rising earlier to make sure the kitten had fresh milk. He even began talking again, telling Oliver stories about his youth, about the garden he once tended with his wife, about dreams he thought he had forgotten, and Oliver listened, purring softly, as if he understood every word. Winter came, cold and heavy, but the cottage no longer felt empty. On snowy nights, Thomas would sit by the fireplace with Oliver curled against his chest, the steady purr blending with the crackling of the fire. The villagers noticed something too. The old man who once seemed weighed down by loneliness, now walked through town with a spark in his eyes, sometimes with a tiny gray and white cat perched proudly on his shoulder. Years later, people would say that Thomas saved the kitten that autumn afternoon. But Thomas knew the truth. It was Oliver who had saved him.